Well, welcome to the Status Chat Weekly blog for, of course, episode 277. The date is 10/16/25. 10 of 25, the Beige book. That is our subject for today. As always, you can find us on the QR code above. It takes you to the website, which is actually YouTube, where you can see what we're talking about, see past episodes, check us out, see how we were covering things, see if that's anything you're interested in. Now, let's get to it. Now, this weekend, I don't know if you're a NCAA football fan, but we have an ignominious altercation coming in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, carried by the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Tennessee Volunteers. Of course, as you can see coming back and forth below you, is Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Now, we got to get right to this. We're going to look at this right here, which is the Board of Governors Beige book for October 2025. Now, we're going to just read a few excerpts from it, and of course, you know where to find that. Is available out there through your Google later. We're going to look at the national summary, I think, first, and we're not going to hit this too terribly long. It's just I saw some stuff today that drew my attention. A highly political individual, someone I spar back and forth with on ideology from time to time, had posted something that said, do you agree with Moody's assessment that the following states are already in recession? Of course, I instantly went to the Psalm rule and reminded that trick way back in 2024. And of course, Claudia Psalm is a big well, let's just say a Democrat, liberal on that side, and she'd come up with this rule that said that she'd observed a certain behavior where if unemployment tipped a certain part below, I think 0.3% below a year ago today or something like that, it indicated a recession was on the horizon. Well, that was in 2024. Where when you listen to people that only want to tell you good news when their team is in and bad news when the other people are in, that's not really giving you the information that you need to make your choices. So let's go see what the Federal Reserve Bank has to say in the national summary. This is national, and then we'll look at Atlanta, which is the 6th district, which is where we are, if I'm not terribly mistaken. It's been a while since I read a Beige book or part of it. It said the economic activity changed little on balance since the previous report, with the 3 districts reporting slight to modest growth in activity and 5 reporting no change, 4 noting a slight softening. Overall consumer spending, particularly on retail goods, it's down in recent weeks, although auto sales were boosted in some districts by stronger demand for electric vehicles ahead of the expiration of the federal tax credit at the end of September, which is already passed. So demand for leisure and hospitality services by international travelers fell over the reporting period, while the demand for domestic consumers was largely unchanged. Nevertheless, spending by higher income individuals on luxury travel and accommodation was reportedly strong. And why is that? Because you're not going to ever hurt the rich man. The rich man, despite what nonsense people may tell you in election time, we're going to go after the 1%. It takes a lot of money to be in politics, and typically those are rich people, and they're not necessarily going to cut their own throat. So, yeah, it's not really going to happen in my 63 years of living. That's not what I have observed. It took me a while to figure that out, that I was just kind of being told stories. All right. So let's talk about the several reports highlighted lower and middle income households, that's where most people exist, continue to see discounts and promotions in the face of rising prices and elevated economic uncertainty. Manufacturing variety In various districts, the activity, most reports noted changing conditions due to higher tariffs and waning overall demand. It's dropping off a little bit. It's waning a little bit. Activity in agriculture, energy, and transportation was generally down among reporting districts. Conditions in the financial services sector and other interest-sensitive sectors, such as residential and commercial real estate, right? Were mixed. Some reports noted that improved business lending in recent weeks due to lower interest rates, while others reported continued highlighted muted activity. The outlook for future economic growth varied district and sector. Sentiment reported improved in a few districts, with some contracts expected an uptick in demand in the next 6 to 12 months. However, many others continued to expect elevated uncertainty to weigh down activity. One district reported highlighted downside risk to growth from prolonged government shutdown. And of course, we remember who shut the government down. Chuck Schumer has apparently gone on how many teens in a row before he decided this time to shut the government down for political reasons. Now we'll look at labor markets. Employment levels were largely stable in recent weeks. Demand for labor was generally muted across districts and sectors. I think we just read that, but now we're down in the subtext down here. More employers reported lower headcounts through layoffs and attrition, with contracts citing weaker demand. Okay, prices, we'll skip through that. Let's go ahead so we don't spend too much of our time and go down to Atlanta to see our area. All right, let's bring that up for you. Let's look at that one. It's only a paragraph. Atlanta, the 6th district economy was unchanged. What? We're unchanged? How about that? Employment levels were steady and wages grew modestly. Hey, that doesn't sound too bad. Prices increased moderately. Consumer spending fell and leisure and travel softened. Home sales declined, even though we got that big interest rate cut. How about that? Home sales declined and commercial real estate was unchanged. Transportation declined. Manufacturing grew slightly. Energy grew moderately, and agriculture was healthy. So it doesn't sound too bad to me. Doesn't sound like I need to be looking at a map of what states are going already in recession, because we had, like I said, we had the Psalm rule over a year ago, Trip, and we haven't seen a recession yet. And that's even when we were having the bogus numbers in jobs and whatnot. All right, so what do you say we look at our weekly numbers and just wrap this show up? All right, well, let's see what we had last week in the system. 10.9 of 25. All indicators were up except for the ratio, which remained unchanged. We had 29,594 in the availables, 42.56 in the under contracts, but still showing. And of course, this week we had 10.16 of 25, mixed, 29.813 on the availables, and down a little bit on the 4.209 under contracts, but it wasn't enough to change the ratio. So what do you say we get to our saying? And I have to say, this is one of the people that I have admired through the years, Mr. Thomas Sowell.